Okay, so the main purpose of this video is to analyse the kind of questions that might come up for the new SEA GCSE English Language Specification, specifically Paper 1 Section B, and the Reading to Access Media Texts, i.e. Tasks 4 and 5, which is going to be quite similar to the previous specs multimodal questions. So it would be a very good idea for you to screenshot any of the resources used in the video by just print screening when you pause the YouTube clip, or alternatively you can search for the SEA specification on TES and you should be able to find my channel, which will be ndavidson91, and you should be able to download most of these resources for free. However, you're more than welcome to print screen them. Now, if we look first at task 4, which is the non-fiction language analysis section of looking at the media texts, something like this could come up. So task 4 and 5 are based on a website's advertising campaign. Approximately 17 minutes should be spent on your response for task 4, and below is some of the text used in a brochure. Comment on how language has been used to develop a sense that the Titanic Hotel Belfast is a unique, historically beautiful place to stay. Present supporting evidence, and you know that's worth 20 marks. Now the interesting thing about this is the question terms. So you have to talk about language, and you have to talk about how it is a unique, historically beautiful place. So these are your question terms, and these question terms should appear throughout your essay, as should lots of language of analysis, from things as simple as analysing verb choices and adjective choices to something much more technical and in-depth, like simile, metaphor, personification, direct address to the audience, etc. So if we take the first section, welcome to Titanic Hotel Belfast. Titanic Hotel Belfast is located in the former headquarters of Harland & Wolff, builders of Titanic, and provides the perfect destination for anyone travelling to Titanic Quarter on business or for pleasure. The Harland & Wolff drawing offices, the earliest parts of these historic buildings, date from 1880s, and over the following 100 years played an important part in the design of many of the world's most famous ocean liners. The creation of the floating hotel and influenced the design of many of today's cruise ships. Belfast is the birthplace of Titanic, and this heritage hotel is a sister to our award-winning Titanic Hotel Liverpool. This hotel is operated by Harcourt Developments, an international property development company with over 50 years' experience restoring and renovating listed heritage buildings. So one of the first things you should do when you're faced with an analyse question is, as soon as you are reading through it, knowing that you have to analyse it, have a highlighter or a pen and go through and pick out, circle, underline, whatever, any words of interest, which I have done here. So I've highlighted several of these because I think the adjectives emphasise how unique and historically rich the venue is. Alternatively, how well respected the development company who created it are. And if you look at the whole idea of our award-winning Titanic Hotel Liverpool, it creates a sense of trust in the reader that they will have a quality stay because their sister hotel is award-winning, which means that it is of the highest class, it's of the highest luxury, which is really important to convey to the reader. So the next thing I picked up on was the use of alliteration for the interesting oral effect. Provides the perfect and heritage hotel, and then restoring and renovating. Here I think the alliteration emphasises the appeal of the hotel, suggesting that a lot of care has been taken into retaining the historical magic of the place, and that's all conveyed through that catchy alliterative phrasing. Then if we look at earliest and world's most famous, you can see that there are superlative adjectives, which I believe serve to emphasise to potential customers how steeped in history the hotel is, especially through the constant references to the internationally successful Harland & Wolff, the original shipping company that was there. Then if you look at the stuff I've highlighted in the dark navy, you can see that there's quite a lot of facts and statistics to impress the reader with historical dates, reassures the reader the hotel has been created with tasteful historical accuracy, that the restoring process hasn't taken anything away from the overall building. It's not too modern. In fact, they've kept some of the charisma of the original building. Then if we look at the kind of yellowy orange, the whole familial imagery of Sister and Belfast is the birthplace is important because it emphasises the hotel is geographically located in the historical site of the shipyard, emphasising the success of the Liverpool Hotel, reassuring the reader of the quality historical experience that they will receive. And again, it emphasises that through all this familial imagery, you will have a really welcoming stay, that they care in the same way that maybe a family might. Then if you look at the restoring and renovating, we highlighted it earlier as an example of alliteration, but even it's just looking on a really simple level at those verb choices. They emphasise the care taken to ensure historical accuracy has been retained and capture the unique magic of the venue. Now, what you could do sitting at home would be to analyse the next section, the unique rooms with history and character. I've tried to highlight a lot of the key words and devices for you, so it's just a matter of you attempting to put these into PE chains to answer that initial question for task 4. The hotel features 119 luxury bedrooms with an Art Deco maritime inspiration. Exquisite furniture, luxurious linens, and interior decorations ensure a perfect night's sleep for all our discerning guests. The needs of passenger comfort are of first importance. The wishes of Sir Edward Harland. So there is a scaffolded sheet. Again, it's available on TES for those who want it. You just have to simply look up the SEA specification and you'll find it. So we'll look at it here on this recording, and feel free to screenshot it as well if you need to. So you can see the first thing I've pointed out is that the website uses adjectives to reassure the reader of the quality of the historical visit. And I've even put a little sentence starter in there in the explanation of impact on the reader, for you to find the evidence and then complete the PE chain. And for all of these, I've done the point for you. It's just up to you to find the evidence and try to think about what the intended impact of using these words and phrases would be on the reader. What about the whole idea of maritime? So it might be interesting for you to find out what maritime is and also research what Art Deco is if you're able to do this successfully. Then if you look at the verb choices, so you need to find verbs that emphasise the care taken with the designing of the rooms. Then you might want to talk about how the website creates imagery in the mind of the reader to what the bedrooms look like. And again, feel free to flick back to have a look at what that little paragraph is to try and hunt for those. Then you need to find examples of where alliteration is used to make reference to Belfast's rich linen producing past. Again, trying to emphasise just how historically rich this hotel is and how much you will learn from your stay there. Rule of 3 has been used to emphasise the care taken with the rooms and ensure guests are comfortable and feel pampered, so you need to find that rule of 3. Hyperbole has been created through the choice of adjective to ensure the reader feels cared for, and then think, once you've found that, what other impacts might it have? Then think about the use of the collective pronoun and that inclusive word. And here I've actually done it for you. So the collective pronoun are, and then that inclusive word all, when they're talking about the discerning guests, emphasising how much the hotel care about the needs of the guests. Then if you look at the choice of adjective discerning to describe the guests, emphasising the guests who choose to stay here are classy and sophisticated, that they make wise choices. Again, suggesting that maybe the clientele of the Titanic are well-educated people who are interested in more than just a luxury stay, but the whole idea of learning something of value from their stay as well, which is really just what the last slide said. And then the quotation from Sir Edward Harland, that is persuasive in suggesting the guests will have a comfortable stay and all their needs will be catered for. And think about the fact that they've quoted somebody so historical and profound to again try and emphasise that this is a hotel with a difference. Now, hopefully that should help your analysis of task 4. But what about task 5, which would have been the old presentational question but is now much shorter than the previous multimodal unit? So I've come up with this. Again, it's from the Titanic Hotel website. I've tried to base most of my resources on the SIA sample assessment material. You'll remember that they used the Titanic Centre for their piece and the whole idea of it as a wedding venue. So here we have the front panel of the website, and you have to select 2 presentational features used in this image to support the idea that Titanic Hotel Belfast is a nice place to stay, and explain the intended effect of these presentational features on the reader. So I've said here some prompt questions. Think about the colour, the camera angle, content of the image, the logo, the positioning, and font, just as some prompts. If you have bought the Hodder textbook, you might want to look at the page where it references Cliff, colour, layout, images, and font. The first thing I think of when I look at this is the fact that they've deliberately kept a black and white picture, of what it used to look like, to again emphasise the rich, beautiful history that is associated with the hotel, and the fact that it was originally the drawing rooms, that it was originally part of Harland and Wolff shipping yards. And the black and white conveys this kind of old-fashioned sense of a time gone by. The camera angle, well, first of all, the shot type, it is clearly a long shot, not an extreme long shot, just a long shot that takes in the surroundings and emphasises the beauty of the historical, now listed buildings and their surrounding area, to again emphasise that this will be educational, unique, and very, very beautiful. It is at eye level, not really suggesting much about the hotel in terms of power and status, in the same way that maybe a low angle shot would convey, but the eye level does help you take in the majesty, the height, just how profound the buildings are when you think about how imposing they look in front of you, as they would appear when you walk up to them to stay in the hotel. The logo up at the top, you'll notice, is a little anchor with an H. Logos, as we know, create a sense of trust. They are easily recognised, emphasising that this is in fact a legitimate company, and it has a beautiful little maritime twist in there as well, that again emphasises that this is a hotel based on the tragic Titanic disaster, but will yet again be historical because of that lovely link to Belfast's past in the making of Titanic. The positioning of the logo up at the top is again to reassure the reader when they visit this page that this is legitimate, and it also emphasises the importance of the hotel's branding and their chain. If you think about the positioning of all of the other items on the page, we have the calendar up in the top right hand corner to draw the eye, catch your attention, and there's a little tick beside make a booking as well to try and subconsciously get you to do so, and to easily check availability to persuade people that booking with them couldn't be more simple. And they also have that little tiny hyperlink Christmas at Titanic Hotel that if you click it'll show you their Christmas offers as well, and the little present emphasises that this would be a lovely gift for somebody. The font is easy to read, it's bold, it stands out, so nothing overly unique or interesting there in terms of font. It's all pretty basic and more so about user accessibility. So these are some of the things you might want to comment on, but you need to also talk about the intended effect, which is something that I've left out because I'd like you to focus on the intended effect yourselves. Hopefully this has been helpful and informative, and feel free to have a look at TES, have a look on TES to see if there are any other resources out there that I have made or that other people have made that will hopefully help you with your revision.